The following is a presentation of Hockey Night in Canada in association with the National Hockey League.
2 more weeks, and it's over. Who's going to hockey's second season? Who will be left behind? 14 days until we find out. Some teams are trying to get in.
Let's push, boys, let's go.
Others are trying to stay in.
Go on.
For one team, being in or out could change each game. A chance at a President's Trophy for one. A chance at a top lottery pick for another. Different teams, different positions. Less than 10 games to determine their fate. The lights are on. The fans are out. The time to win is now. Welcome to Hockey Night in Canada.
Station Hockey Night in Canada is on the air. Tonight, the Ottawa Senators and the Toronto Maple Leafs face off in downtown Toronto. Toronto playing out the string, but they'd love to play spoiler against Ottawa tonight. Just up to 4:01 we go. Heading east, the Montreal Canadiens and the Florida Panthers. Roberto Luongo looking for his 400th. Carey Price back in net after Tokarski got shelled in Winnipeg. That game is over on City. Welcome to Hockey's Biggies Night. My name is George Strombolopoulos. It is always an honor to be with you. Right now, there are 4 Canadian teams in the playoffs. The last times there were 4 Canadian teams in the Stanley Cup playoff picture, 05-06. You may recall Edmonton, Alberta, a moment of joy. You snuck in and took that all the way to the finals. It is so exciting this time of year at any time, but now, with the way the Canadian teams are playing, it's that much more exciting. To get you set up, we'll take you throughout the rinks. But first, we start with Cassie Campbell Pascal. Cassie, walk us through what fans of their teams will get tonight.
Thanks very much, George. A huge game for the Ottawa Senators as they play the Leafs tonight in Toronto on CBC. And the question mark this morning was who will be playing in goal for the Sens? Well, it'll be Craig Anderson. He's played in just 2 games of the Sens' last 27. And an interesting note, it'll be Chris Driedger, not Andrew Hammond, who will be backing him up. The Bruins beat the Rangers this afternoon. The Sens find themselves on the outside looking in, but they get Clark MacArthur back. He's missed the last 18 games with a concussion. Colin Greening will be out. And for the Leafs, Nazem Kadri returns after serving a 4-game suspension. And James Reimer will be between the pipes. George?
Thank you very much, Cass. Okay, to Montreal we go. To find out what's happening with the Habs looking to clinch a playoff spot tonight, David Amber is standing by au Quebec.
George, you're going to love the matchup here tonight. Check this out. The last 2 goalies to lead Canada to gold at the Olympics facing off head-to-head tonight. At one end, you have Roberto Luongo, who, by the way, is going for his 400th career win here in his hometown of Montreal. At the other end, Carey Price, in what has been an MVP-type season, hopes to continue that role as the Canadians hope to clinch a playoff berth with a win. But it's been a struggle of late. 2 straight losses for the Habs, so a little shake-up in the lineup. Devontae Smith-Pelly, he's a healthy scratch. In draws Brian Flynn onto the 4th line. As for the Panthers, they're trying to claw their way back into a playoff position. They're now 5 points behind the Bruins, and they're also going to have to do it without their leading scorer, Nick Bjugstad. Yesterday, season-ending back surgery. He is done. One thing to keep an eye on, though, the Montreal Canadiens. 7 games left on their schedule. They've got to figure out what's going wrong with their power play if they want to make a deep playoff run. In the last 2 months, George, 6 for 59. That's about a 10% clip. Not going to get it done. A huge reason they're the lowest scoring team currently positioned to make it to the postseason. George?
Thank you very much, Mr. Amber, and thank you, Cassie Campbell Pascal. Habs and Panthers on City, Leafs and Sens on CBC. Later tonight, the Canucks and Stars on CBC as well. Puck Drop is next.
Welcome into Montreal as we get you set for the Florida Panthers and Montreal Canadiens. It's spring, but it feels like winter in Montreal. A brisk day, but both teams are thinking about playoff hockey in the spring. The fourth of 5 meetings between these teams. The Habs 2-0-1 in 3 matches against the Panthers, who are 5 points behind Boston for the final playoff spot in the East. Meanwhile, for the Montreal Canadiens, they're looking to do something they haven't done in 37 years, and that is lead the National Hockey League in points. This was the last time, 1978. Montreal first overall in the regular season and capped it off with a 6-game Stanley Cup victory against the Boston Bruins in Boston. Larry Robinson was the Conn Smythe winner. Montreal winning their 3rd straight Stanley Cup. This year they're battling against the likes of the Rangers, Tampa, Nashville, and Anaheim for the President's Trophy, but ultimately their eyes are set on the Stanley Cup. Let's get you set now for the anthems with Michel Lacroix. Dave Randorf and Gary Galley will have your call.
Mesdames, Messieurs, veuillez maintenant vous lever, retirer chapeaux et casquettes pour l'interprétation des hymnes nationaux par Thea Cruz. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise, remove your hats and caps for the singing of the national anthems by Thea Cruz.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the rampart we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the lands of the free and the home of the brave? Ô Canada, terre de nos aïeux, ton front est ceint de fleurons glorieux, car ton bras s'est porté l'épée, il s'est porté la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Welcome to Montreal. This is the last Saturday night on home ice for the Montreal Canadiens in this regular season, and a win tonight, and they are officially into the Stanley Cup playoffs. A marquee goaltending matchup on this Saturday night. Roberto Luongo will turn 36 years of age 1 week from tonight. He is going to try to become the 11th guy to win 400 games between the pipes in National Hockey League history, and he desperately wants the 2 points that come along with it. Down at the other end, the magnificent season of Carey Price continues. Leads the league in goals against, save percentage, and his 40 wins is a career high, and just 2 off the franchise record. A lot of talk about where the goals are going to come from for these Montreal Canadiens. Well, right now, Brendan Gallagher comes in on a 4-game goal-scoring streak. They need goals, and he's giving them to them. Jonathan Huberdeau grew up about half an hour away from this building in downtown Montreal. He's in the starting lineup for the Florida Panthers as their leading scorer. And two important points on the line between the Panthers and the Canadiens as we are all underway here at the Bell Center. Puck is sent into the Montreal zone. Into the corner there is Subban and Markov, and the Panthers go right to work. This is game 3 of a crucial 5-game road trip for the Panthers, who are trying to hang in there in the playoff race. Montreal trying to push the puck up the boards. It comes loose for Barkov. Fan on that pass attempt, and Gallagher now stops to that puck out the boards, but Barkov back in there along with Jonathan Huberdeau on the back end. Eric Goodbranson, it was a healthy scratch in their last game against the Toronto Maple Leafs, back in the lineup. Lead pass for Jokinen. Jokinen's shot handled by Price, and he makes his first stop of the night.
Well, it's a road trip that Gerard Gallant knows. In the next 3 games, a lot is going to be said about his hockey club. This game tonight in Montreal, certainly a big one. You know the Bruins won today. Toronto in Ottawa in Toronto tonight going on. And who's coming up next for Gerard Gallant? Ottawa Senators tomorrow night, and then the Boston Bruins. It's all right in front of them.
Boland on that draw, puts the puck to the sideboards. Jeff Petrie sent it around the opposite side where it gets past Brandon Prust. Prust now with it, goes cross ice, pass just ahead of Dale Weiss to the line and out. Here's Boland now. Boland stepping in over the line, had it poked off his stick there by Petrie, and Florida is offside of the Montreal blue line.
For the Montreal Canadiens, it's back-to-back 100-point seasons, and Michel Therrien's behind the bench for both of those, and it's been quite a bit of a run, and he's tried to almost calm the people down around, saying, hey, remember, we're still kind of rejigging things. We're still trying to find our way, find who can play here, find combinations, find chemistry. We've made a lot of changes here. Yes, we're in first place, but we know there's still a lot of work to be done, and certainly it's something that maybe they didn't think they were going to be there when this season started, but everybody in this league has a ton of respect for what Montreal's done so far this year.
Speaking of a ton of respect, Aaron Ekblad getting a lot of that. He's out on the ice as this puck goes all the way down, and it'll come back down towards the Florida zone.
Carey Price, certainly the MVP of the Montreal Canadiens, and where would we be? Where would they be when you talk about the least amount of scoring in the National Hockey League is from the Montreal Canadiens, and Carey Price with that 16-1-1 record on Saturday nights, 1.21 goals against average. He loves to play on this night. As you mentioned, it's the last one here for a while.
3 goals against on 31 shots in his last outing Tuesday night in Nashville, an overtime loss as Montreal lost both ends of that difficult back-to-back situation on the road. Not back-to-back nights, but back-to-back road games. Here they are stepping into the line. Parenteau towards it, and that kicked aside by Luongo into the corner. David Desharnais stepping in there, sees Subban late, there's the drive, and it's blocked right in front by Trocheck. Trocheck feeling all of that one. Still limping around out there in the defensive zone. Off the boards where it's gathered up by Brandon Perry. Perry steps in over the line, he's got a very hot stick, dishes off there to Brian Campbell, who jumps up on the play, finds Goodbranson late, his shot, and Price got a piece of that. Perry gave it up to Subban, Subban up the boards to Parenteau, and they are out. Dmitry Kulikov goes across to Goodbranson into the middle of the ice. That pass didn't click, and Petrie brings it around the board. Ryan Flynn, number 32, back in the lineup for the Canadiens. Just his 6th game for Montreal since being acquired from Buffalo. Puck is tapped in by Jacob De La Rose. Lars Eller first to the puck and behind the net. Throws it back. Beaulieu shot into traffic. And that is blocked in front of Luongo. The rebound comes back the other way. It's Upshaw. He shoots and he whistles a wrist shot wide. Second attempt there on the far side by Kopecky, and Price, ready for that, makes the stop.
Well, a great shot block by Trocheck, and it stung. You mentioned Subban's shot caught him somewhere down low, maybe ankle, and he limped himself off of the ice, and it's a great shot block. You'll watch it at the top of your screen as he goes down. He gets turned around and gets it on the back of the leg. And Andrei Markov went slowly to the Montreal bench as he caught this one, it looks like, on the instep of his foot as he opened it up.
Top line on the ice for Florida. This is Alexander Barkov at center, 19 years of age, out there with 21-year-old Jonathan Huberdeau and 43-year-old Jaromir Jagr, a line that's really found some chemistry since Jagr was acquired from the Devils. There's Huberdeau. That bounces right in front of the Florida net, and Plekanec couldn't corral it on his stick. Barkov comes back the other way, chips it off the glass, and in it goes. Gallagher almost turned it over and behind his own net. Subban's having trouble with a forecheck. There's a one-timer by Barkov, and it does not reach the goal. Andrei Markov flips to the center ice, and his bouncing puck picked up by Plekanec. On his backhand, he sends it back in there. Back to get it is the 35-year-old veteran Brian Campbell. Up to the 19-year-old Aaron Ekblad. Down the boards, Boland out front looking for Boyes. In too tight. They keep it going. Here's Jokinen. Back for Brad Boyes. Throws it out there, and nobody home for the Panthers. Dale Weiss back the other way. Flips it ahead to Prust. Prust points the net, and that is tipped off the stick of Willie Mitchell. Back in towards the goal. Karams right to Jokinen. Jokinen felt the back check there of Weiss, and he dumps the puck in.
The Canadians making some changes tonight. You look at Lars Eller, who's been struggling for quite some time. One might say he's been struggling ever since they moved Delarose to the middle and moved him to the wing. Well, tonight they move Eller back to center ice. Delarose over to the wing as they continue to experiment with their third and fourth lines. And that's something they just can't seem to find chemistry on.
David Desharnais with speed down the right side, cuts it in the middle. Here's Desharnais, doesn't shoot, gets it back, and he lost the chance to fire a shot on net as the puck goes up and out of play.
Well, Desharnais comes down the wall, and it's just a straight cut across, and then he's going to lay this puck outside, but good defensive play right there. Sprawling down is Peary, and he gets his stick shaft onto the ice and deflects it out of harm's way.
Desharnais lost that draw to the rookie Vincent Trocheck. As David Amber told you prior to the opening faceoff, Nick Bjugstad out for the season after having back surgery on Friday.
Yeah, and I don't think that was something that was a surprise to the Florida Panthers. I don't think you just get hurt and all of a sudden have back surgery. I think this is something that's been bothering Bjugstad for some time, something that he's been trying to get through. And I think, unfortunately, for Gerard Gallant and the Florida Panthers, it just time ran out, and they had to do surgery on him. I'm not quite sure exactly what the surgery entailed, but obviously serious enough to go in and do back surgery on him. So hopefully a good recovery from him. What a great young player he's become for the Florida Panthers.
Usually plays on this line along with Jimmy Hayes, and when those two are out there at the same time, that is a lot of beef.
Big boys, and they engage in the game as well. Hayes is a guy who engages in the game, that, you know, via the Chicago Blackhawks. So many of Dale Talon's fingerprints are on this thing through the Chicago Blackhawks in some way or another. You look at the number of guys, and he is one of them, and they go in and they rattle and hum. And Bjugstad himself, he'll play against all the big bodies, and he does not back down, and that's why they love him here in Florida.
Alex Petrovic goes across. Mitchell sends it up the ice, and Alexei Emelin is back to get it for the Canadians. Up ahead now is Flynn stepping in there. Ryan Flynn angled wide, turns back, banks it off the boards to Petrie. Petrie puts it back into the corner. There's Lars Eller trying a sharp angled shot and didn't get out of that one. Gets the puck back in behind the net. McKenzie is on him. Now walking out, there's a quick drive, and Luongo made the stop there on Lars Eller. Flynn and Delarose and Eller trying to make something happen. The puck goes to the net, and Luongo paddled down, makes the save, and hangs on.
A little scramble around the net, and the one thing the Florida Panthers have really done is they've cut their goals against down, and defensively they just really box out nicely. I've seen them play a few times this year, and they do a really good job of it here, holding all the Montreal players to the outside as Flynn pushes this one through, and he finds himself back in the lineup tonight at the expense of Devon Smith-Pelly. And I think for Michel Therrien, he doesn't feel like he's given Flynn a fair enough shake and getting him into enough games so he can really evaluate him. And for Smith-Pelly, I think it's just kind of fallen off a little bit.
Face off won by Montreal. Along the side boards, here's Alex Galchenyuk. And Galchenyuk 1 goal away from 20 on the season. But his offense has been pretty quiet the last 15 games. Here's Barkov now, throws it in front. Far side, Yager with a drive and a stop by Price. Jaromir Yager in for Barkov. Yager snaps another shot, and Price makes the save twice on Jaromir Yager. And we have no score on a Saturday night at the Bell Center between Montreal and Florida.
Well, Jaromir Yager was saying earlier this week that he was tired in a couple of the games, but he said it's no excuse as him and Barkov and Huberdeau, they're going to play together. They have to produce and help this team get into the playoffs. And as you get a little bit older in years, start to get a little bit maybe crazy in some ways as he's got these sticks and eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And there was a time in Philadelphia where he took his sticks home during the day, brought them all home, brought them all back. He's fanatical about it, his skates, and maybe PK Subban is catching on the same thing. Who knows? I don't know. But it's I just took the one that was sitting in the rack and took it on the ice. But then again, I didn't score like those guys, that's for sure.
Speaking of PK, he leads the rush out of the zone, gives it up to Placanitz. That backhander skewed aside by Roberto Luongo. Here's Galchenyuk now, trying to get away from Ekblad. And the puck is free behind the Panther net. Campbell off the glass. This one drifts down the ice. That caught a player on the bench on the way by. That faceoff's coming back inside the Florida Blue.
Oh, but the injury to Giordano, the conversation about the Norris Trophy has really opened up, and a lot of people are saying it's become an open field, and there's a number of guys, and PK Subban's name will certainly be one of them, as the success of the Montreal Canadiens can be acclimated to a guy who plays 26, 27 minutes a night for them and plays the way that he does against some of the best players, and certainly he'll have a definite look, and Erik Karlsson as well, and Shea Weber. Giordano, to me, was the front runner, but unfortunately with the injury, they'll have to reassess that, and it'll be a tighter vote now for sure.
Greg Patterson stays in the lineup for Montreal. Tom Gilbert not quite ready yet after taking a stick in the face 1 week ago tonight against San Jose.
He was playing great, too. Him and Petrie were a nice pairing, even though they were on the wrong side. I mean, you look at a left, you do not see a right-hand defenseman playing the left side very often. It's very difficult to do. I thought Gilbert was doing a really good job of it.
Here's Darnay now trying to step in around the long reach of Goodbranson. Crowd wanted a call there, not going to get it. And this one drifts down the ice for Jeff Petrie. Petrie goes across to Yemelin. There's a pairing that had a tough night in Winnipeg on Thursday. A lot of Canadians did, as the Jets really took it to them in that 5-2 win for the Jets. Here's Yemelin now, stepping in there, trying to dish it off, and it got into the skates there of Flynn. He keeps it deep into the corner. Eller is in after it. He takes a hard hit from Petrovic, who's not shy out there. And now it's Peary. Peary flips his puck up in the air to center ice, bounces away from Hayes. Back into the middle of the ice. Petrie pokes it away from Trocheck, who's got it now. Trocheck dancing around in the neutral zone, flips his puck in. Over the glove there of Price, and into the corner. Up for Weiss. Dale Weiss bags it in. Here comes Torrey Mitchell. And he could not win that race, as that is icing against the Canadiens.
One story for the Florida Panthers that's just ignited of late has been the play of Brandon Peary, and there he is sitting on the bench right now, just finished his shift, but the last 22 games he has been on fire. Everything that's coming off his stick is absolutely fine in the back of the net. He's got a scary release, velocity out the window, and will probably win the Cy Young Award as well this year, as his 20 goals and 2 assists, his teammates will tell you, he's right up front there. There's not many guys in the history of the game of late that have that few assists with that many goals.
Well, I've got the stat from our reliable statistician here. That is the just the sixth highest total of guys who got 20 goals and less than 3 assists. And the other 5 guys, you got to go all the way back to the 20s.
Crazy.
So it's crazy. Terry Bach dug that one up. Thanks, Terry. Puck back down to the Florida zone. That puck is met there by Mitchell. Back towards the net, and Luongo ready for that one as he stops it and kicks it up over the glass and into the netting.
Roberto Luongo, certainly no stranger to handling lots of rubber during a hockey game. His first stint in Florida, he used to average almost 40 shots a game. And this one here kind of surprises him. It comes off the boards and comes right to the net quickly. Just a flip of the wrist, he turns that thing and he sends that out of play. I'll take the face-off, thank you very much. Instead of having a loose puck sitting around him, he wasn't sure where all the Canadians were.
Subban backs up and gets that puck to Markov. Markov ahead to Galchenyuk. Into the middle looking for Placanitz. Couldn't handle a pass, and here comes Jagr. Back the other way to Barkov. Jagr tries to take a shot that's blocked into the corner. Alexander Barkov from Finland. And the puck dribbles down towards Luongo. There's Kulikov back to get it. Another former first-rounder, another Quebec Junior League player in Drummondville was Kulikov.
Both these teams struggled to score goals in the first period, and then halfway through this first period, it's no shock. It's 0-0, as they're two of the lowest scoring teams in the National Hockey League in the first period. And Roberto Luongo approaching the 400 win mark. If he can get a win tonight, he will accomplish that, and in a couple of more wins, he'll climb into the top 10 goaltenders of all time. And the names that are in that top 10 are pretty impressive, and he will join them very, very shortly.
Isn't it amazing how many all-time greats in terms of goaltenders either played for Montreal or from Montreal or this province?
It has a lot to do with the great Jacques Plante, Ken Dryden, and then you look at Patrick Roy and the development of the butterfly, and every young goaltender wanted to be just like him. And
Dave Bolland now in his backhand tries to turn it, spin a shot towards the net. Now he's got the puck back. Here's Jokinen in there. The puck is rolling around in front of the Montreal net. Loose. Bolland taps at it, and Price makes another stop. A scrambly play in front of the Montreal goal. Here's Brad Boyd. Can't get away from Desharnais. On the sideboards, Jokinen is there, and they throw it across for Petrovic. Petrovic into the middle looking for a backdoor, finds Boyd eventually, and Boyd banks it back to the line. Here's the captain, Mitchell, loads, fires, and then it's blocked in front. Jeff Petrie slows it down and flips it the length of the ice.
A smart play by Petrie. You've been in your end for a bit. You don't try to make a pass through people. Get it up aerial, get it down the ice, get your line change in.
Past the midway point of the first period, shots are 8-3 in favor of the Panthers.
I just can't recall in the 12 and 11 shots we've seen any grade A quality scoring chances at all.
And Luongo holds that puck at the far post. A couple of players having a discussion, and we will take a break. No score. Panthers Canadians on Hockey Night in Canada.
Welcome back. Even if the Panthers don't make the postseason this year, they certainly have a bright future. This guy's a big part of it. Aaron Ekblad certainly living up to his hype as the #1 overall pick. Only Phil Housley and Bobby Orr have ever put up more points as an 18-year-old rookie defenseman. Aaron just turned 19. Talked to him today. Incredibly mature for his age. He told me a number of people have helped him get where he is, including Panthers captain Willie Mitchell, who he lives with in Fort Lauderdale. He mentioned his parents. He talks to them after most games. And his agent, Bobby Orr, who he says shares some good tips with him about positioning defensively and also how to get into open space offensively. So far, so good. Dave?
Only two defensemen of 18 years old to start their professional careers have won the Calder Trophy, and that is Bobby Orr and Ray Bourque. So those two Bruin defensemen, and I think Aaron Ekblad's name will be right up there when the Calder Trophy gets talked about in many of votes. And there's so many good young players. You look at what Johnny Gaudreau is doing. You look what Mike Hoffman has done in Ottawa this year, and Mark Stone, and the play of Philip Forsberg, you certainly can't deny. It's going to be a tough call, but playing defense is the hardest position to learn, and he's done a great job at it.
So is he your Calder Trophy winner?
I like him. I think, as I said, goaltending is still the most important position, but defense is the hardest position to learn, and he's making it look easy out there. 22-plus minutes of ice time. He plays poised. He gets pucks through to the net. He doesn't force it. If his team's behind, he'll jump up. If they're ahead, he plays good defense. Good, solid player.
There's a solid hit from Erik Gudbranson. Gudbranson was a high first-round draft pick as well, 3rd overall in 2010. Here's Derek McKenzie now. First to the puck, pinned there by Petrie. And the puck comes loose for Scotty Upshall. Upshall surrounded by a couple of Canadians. He's upended, and it goes up the boards for Flynn. Flynn into the lineup in place of Devontae Smith-Pelly, as we've told you tonight. And Petrovic. His pass into the middle for Thomas Kopetsky. Kopetsky trying to get it towards the net, could not. And now Petrovic's going to step in there. Giving a shove to Yevlin. And he jars the puck free. Goes to the far side. After it is Flynn. Nothing fancy here by the Florida Panthers, but not a bad road period for them so far.
They got the all center line right now for Montreal. You got Flynn, who's a centerman, playing on the right side. You've got two other guys that are centermen, Delarose and Eller, both centermen. Only one of them can play there tonight, and that's Lars Eller.
Yager goes across, puts it right on the tape of Huberdeau. Jonathan Huberdeau steps in, sharp angle drive, missed the net. And there is Ekblad stepping up along the sideboards, and the puck comes free, and Barkov hustles back to get it. Moves it over to Campbell, into the middle for Ekblad, tips it in. Price, ready for that, puts it right into the corner for PK. And now it's on the stick of Andrei Markov. Long pass, looking for Pacioretty, drifts down the ice for icing.
Well, a couple of things you might not know about Aaron Ekblad is we'll flash up his numbers for you, and those are outstanding, by the way. But he's 6'4.5", and he needs another half inch in order to extend that stick to the maximum he could. And believe me, if he could, he would. But it's one of those things where he uses a long stick. He uses it to be able to reach out along the blue line, get pucks through. He's been helping all the defensemen on his team because he gets the puck through so easily. He's been showing them how to do that, and they've all improved at that this year. So there's an 18-year-old working with all the veterans, showing them how to get pucks through from the blue line. He leads the team being on the ice for the most goals scored, 79 of them. It's amazing the numbers this guy has this year, and that's why I think to me, he's one of the favorites for the Calder.
Boys working behind the net, gets it to Bolin, looking for Jokinen out front, and that pass sails down the length of the ice. Luongo quickly moves it back up, trying to catch Montreal on a change. Mitchell resets to the backside. Patterson goes across to Nathan Beaulieu. And now it's Weiss in the corner along with Mitchell. Bodies collide. Kulikov's down there, so is Goodbranson. Mitchell trying to jar that puck free. Wheat knocked off his skates, and the puck comes to Brad Boyes to Jokinen.
Big defense core for the Florida Panthers. You got a guy like Goodbranson, he just leans on you, knocks you down, takes the puck. You know, the Montreal had a tough time in Winnipeg as well. They may have outplayed them, outchanced them, but they got out-muscled, they got out-hit, they forced a lot of mistakes, and the Montreal Canadiens came out on a 5-2 losing side of things. And even though they had a lot of chances, they got a bit of their own medicine that Carey Price has been dosing out for all year long, as teams have outplayed Montreal, but just cannot seem to solve Carey Price.
Subban back to retrieve the puck, almost lost his footing and did, and look out, here's Youngers, turns and shoots, and Carey Price, right on cue, flashes the glove and snares that one away from Jaromir Jagr. Bailing at his buddy, PK turns it over, right under the stick of Jagr, and Price snares it.
It is extremely difficult to go from era to era and look at goaltenders and say, you know, who's the best? Is this guy equally as good as that guy? Carey Price has made a great argument to win the Hart Trophy this year. I think he will win it. Look at the guys he's chasing and the history he's trying to track down right now. 2 wins away from tying Ken Dryden and Jacques Plante. And those are amazing goaltenders, and I know that he will get those 42 wins. I do believe he will tie, if not surpass them. And the question is, will there be that asterisk there where, you know, those guys only played in a 70-game schedule, you know, and maybe that's just too much but to overcome. But at the end of the day, those were some dynasties those goaltenders were playing behind, and Carey Price is playing behind what I don't consider to be a dynasty team. They're a good, strong team because of Carey Price and a lot that he does for them.
Here comes Jagr again, dancing in, and that shot goes wide of the net. Big line right back into the ice after the television timeout for Gerard Gallant. Here's Petrie, goes across, that pass misses, ends up on the stick of Campbell. Barkov to Ekblad, quickly up to Jonathan Huberdeau, and in.
And believe me, that's not taking anything away from the great Jacques Plante and Ken Dryden.
That blast knockdown, you know, it's the classic sports debate.
Yes.
When you're measuring different eras.
And those guys were outstanding. I mean, 7 cups in the 70s. I mean, you know, it's just hard to even fathom as a player, an ex-player. But for Carey Price, he has been the story this year. And it's not even to look down at what Montreal has done. This is a team that defends extremely well, and they play the system as good as anybody, and they understand that they have the best goalie in the world. Keep it to 2 or less, and you will win most games.
Look at that hit by Greg Patterson on Jimmy Hayes, who is laboring right in front of the bench. Jimmy Hayes is 6'5", and Patterson caught him, and Hayes slams his stick and takes it unsportsmanlike. Penalty in the process. He is limping on the Panthers bench.
Gerard Gallant, one thing he's probably like to say to Hayes right now is we can't afford to take penalties like this. It's a good solid hit by Patterson. He steps into it. I don't see the puck in the sight of the shot, and that's the one thing. The puck gets deflected by Patterson, and he finishes the hit, so the puck never really gets to Hayes, and I think that's what Hayes is kind of yelling at. I never touched the puck. I never had the puck. The passer of the puck can get hit when the puck is gone. Once you release the pass, you are fair game to be hit. And even though the puck hasn't reached its destination, you're open game to be nailed, and that's okay. But to the receiver of the puck, if you never get it, the question the referee has to look at and what he has to assess is the puck in the close enough range that I can allow this hit to take place? As Patterson is telling him, go ahead, go to the box. As the salt gets rubbed into the wound of Hayes, and he'll head over and serve 2 minutes or less. And the Montreal Canadiens will go on the power play, and a power play that certainly has not been firing on all cylinders for sure. They've had a lot of issues Xing out of their zone as Gerard Gallant is, I think, a little disappointed with the call. I mean, you know, the frustrated player at this time of the year, referee, just let it go, let him get on the bench. But they'll have to kill this one off for him.
Montreal's power play struggling. Florida's power play struggling. How about this? In the last 6 head-to-head meetings between these two teams, nobody has scored a power play goal.
Well, Florida's power penalty killing has actually kind of got back on track. They've killed 16 of the last 17, so they've found a way down the stretch to make it work for themselves. Montreal's power play is just, it's just something that's hard to figure out. They've got some real talent out there. They've got 2 boomers from the point. They just can't seem to find goals.
And the 2 boomers are on the point right now. Subban goes across to Markov. Markov gets the puck back, walks the line, stops up, across to Subban, into the corner for Plekanec, across, and that is tipped off the stick of Luongo and out of play. Face-off stays inside the line.
Part of the problem, they do have guys who move the puck well. They hit the seams pretty good. I mentioned they got those 2 guys at the point that deserve respect, so the visiting team, the opponent, has to play a little bit higher so those guys don't start teeing it up. But there is no traffic in front of Luongo when those shots are potentially coming in from the point. And if he can see those pucks, he's going to save 99.9% of them. You have got to have traffic in front of Roberto Luongo.
Desharnais, Pacioretty, and Parenteau now up front. Subban and Markov stay out there. Here's Max Pacioretty. 35 goals in the season. Here's Subban now. Across to Pacioretty. His shot is blocked. Goes after the loose puck and gets it back. Up top to Subban. Across to Markov. Markov dancing on that line. Here is Desharnais. David Desharnais slap pass down low. In front. Can't get the pass there. And it's broken up and it goes into the corner. Thomas Kopecky finishes the job. Sends it down the ice.
Try to create that triangle at the top of the blue line, bringing Pacioretty up, but again, none of them are in the one-timer positions. You want to set that triangle up so those 2 guys off the top are one-timer positions.
1 minute gone. Fresh personnel on the ice up front. Gallagher's off the bench, so is Plekanec. Here's Subban across to Markov. Markov steps in all the way into the corner and backs out. Goes back up top for Piquet. Looking for a lane. Long shoots. Hits the post. Deflected in front and rings it off the post. Here's Pacioretty now. Pacioretty back to Markov. Switches places with Piquet. Back to Subban. There's the drive. Blocked by Jokinen. Loose puck for Pacioretty. And it's blocked. Clear to the line. Not out. Held by Subban. 18 seconds to go. The man advantage. Out of the corner now is Plekanec. One-timer right on. And Luongo makes the stop on Piquet. And that's going to draw a crowd as The Canadians got way too close to Luongo as Goodbranson wrestles Gallagher to the ice.
Well,
Look
this
at
thing is
Jokinen
still
still
going
swinging.
on as Jokinen, the referee is going to start taking guys. And again, if you're the Florida Panthers, you got to be extremely careful here. You're already down a player. You don't want to be getting into these penalties. And even though Montreal's penalty killing has not been, power play has not been that sharp, you don't want to go to the well too often here. The games and the points are too important for Florida. But man, do they box out around Luongo quickly. PK Subban walks this to the middle and he lets it rip just off the inside. He catches the post as he got to the middle of the ice quickly there. And then here's the Montreal chance. And again, I give a lot of credit to Florida, who's done a good job of boxing it out. And that's a poor clear by Kulikov, and that ends up creating another scoring chance for the Montreal Canadiens. When you get a chance to clear the puck, you have got to get it down 200 feet. And that's where all the shenanigans took place, right in front of Roberto Luongo.
Just 3 power play goals for the Canadians all month so far. Just 12 seconds remaining in this one. Here's Petrie now. Petrie takes a look, throws it across. They work it into the corner. Galchenyuk in the high slot. Here's Petrie. One-time blast. Block. Rebound. Scores! Lars Eller. And it's 1-0 Montreal.
His 12th of the season, and Lars Eller's like, see, put me back to center. Put me back to center, and I'll make it work. Some guys just feel more comfortable. The power play still going on here, and traffic in front. And when the original shot comes to the net, it hits something in front, and it's going to squeak right over to the left side right there. I'm not sure if it goes off Flynn, but it's a fortuitous pounce that lands on the stick of Lars Eller. And Galchenyuk backs up, and I think Galchenyuk interferes with Luongo getting over. I personally believe that's goalie interference, but the referee on the ice didn't think so. He's definitely in the way of Luongo from moving from his right to his left. But Lars Eller makes no mistake, and he bangs it into the net. There wasn't any argument from Luongo, so it stands.
And it is not a power play goal. The power play just ended. So that does not help their power play numbers, but they'll take the goal 1-0. In the final 2 minutes of the first period. Here comes Eller again, stepping in. Petrie goes to the net. Now Petrie's got it in the corner. Back to Lars Eller. Eller in front. Loose in there. Luongo paddled down. Takes it away. And chance gone. And another penalty call coming up here.
Jaromir Jagr is going to head to the penalty box here.
We'll stop in the action. I want to tell you not to miss an all-new episode of Mike and Molly Monday, 8:30 Eastern and Pacific on City, or catch up on citytv.com.
When you hear a coach talk about taking a good penalty, that's a good penalty right there. If he doesn't take that penalty, Weiss is going to leave that on his backhand, walk outside and bury it, and Jagr had no choice. Whether the poor mistakes that were made in the zone, you don't want to give up a layup goal, and Jagr made the right call by hooking his arm, and Weiss lost the puck, so Florida Panthers are once again on the kill.
Back-to-back power play opportunities for Montreal, hammered around the boards, and it hops over the stick of Markov.
You didn't get a power play goal, but for the Montreal Canadiens, scoring that goal is huge. It gives them a lot of confidence coming into this power play now that, yes, things are working, yes, the puck's moving around good.
This one sent down by Jokinen up in the air. And Markov starts out. Andrei Markov, 36 years of age, now at 107 career goals. Here's Pacioretty now as everybody's got to clear the zone on the delayed offside call. 1 minute to go, first period. Eller, the only goal of the game, hammered the length of the ice by Petrovic.
That's the entry they're having issues with, and they had the problem in Winnipeg as well. They get up to the red line and they make a play and they don't get in the zone.
Here comes Gallagher now. He'll step in, curl back. Brendan Gallagher on a 4-game goal streak. Gets the puck back wide, shoots, and that is deflected in behind the net. Thomas Quick-Headed to Nathan Beaulieu out of the corner, flips it back to the line. Petrie, Beaulieu stepping in across, looking for the backdoor play. Galchenyuk's got it. Galchenyuk steps in, heads to the net. Plekanec walks out of the corner. Here's Petrie. He winds and shoots. That's blocked, and it ends up with Galchenyuk. Back for Plekanec up top. Petrie won't have a save. Rebound. Got that too. Puck is loose and finally gets the whistle. All kinds of action around Roberto Luongo, and now more pushing and shoving as Goodbranson is once again not happy with the Montreal players getting close to his goalie.
Once the puck comes to the net, you bury it. Thomas Kopecky is going to block this puck right here, and it breaks his stick. Watch him. He goes to the bench. This leaves a huge gap in the ice for Petrie to step into and create this whole shot to the net and all the traffic that happened. You got to gut it out and stay on the ice. You got to wait and stay in the shooting lane until you can get over to the bench. And once again, the Montreal Canadiens are trying to get to the net to Roberto Luongo. And it looks like Branson again jamming people out from the front of the net. But that, you break your stick, I get it. But you cannot leave and go to the bench and leave that wide open spot in the slot for a guy to one-time it for your opponent. There's just too much space to give.
So coincidental roughing minors on that last scrum in front of Luongo. It remains a power play in effect for Montreal. Just 9.4 seconds remaining here in the first. As Plekanec settles in to take this draw against Dave Bolland. And they pull it back. Here's Subban. Moves in. Snapshot. And Luongo got it with a glove in heavy traffic. Galchenyuk with a drive. And that goes wide. And that'll do it for a first period that heated up thanks to a couple of power plays. But the only guy to score is Lars Eller. His 12th of the season. Coming up in the first intermission, Ron MacLean and Don Cherry in the coach's corner. The score here after one is 1-0 Canadiens.
Welcome back in. 1-0 Montreal on the Lars Eller goal, leading the Panthers after 20 minutes. Let's check out scores from around the league. Our Budweiser red light scoreboard. Look at that. The Ottawa Senators, Mark Stone with a goal. 1-0. They lead the Leafs as well. The Wild leading the Kings. That's good news for both the Flames and the Canucks. Let's get you upstairs now. Dave Randorf, Gary Galley getting set for the second period. Gentlemen.
Thank you very much, David. Pretty even first period in terms of shots on goal, but Lars Eller is the only goal scorer. What were your thoughts after that first 20 there, Gary?
Well, I think if you're the Florida Panthers, you're certainly got to be careful in the department of taking penalties.
Here's Gallagher stepping in, fans on the shot, puck rolls towards the net, and it's sent back down by Barkov as there is still 6 seconds to go in this power play. They call against Jagr, who is about to step into the box, and here he comes now. Back at even strength. Luongo kicks that aside, and it bounces almost back out in front. Subban back towards the net, loose puck for Plekanec, and he shot it just wide. Was in tight and fired it wide. Subban swept it back to the point. Nobody was home. Plekanec gets it across to Markov. Back near side off the boards, out of the reach there of Thomas Plekanec. Another 20-goal season in the books for the wily vet, Plekanec. Here's Mitchell now. His first season in Florida, wearing the C for them for the first time in his pro career. Kulikov off the board, trips one in there. Huberdeau down low against Markov. Loose puck there for Goodbranson. Now it's PK. Hard off the boards and over the stick of Kulikov. Desharnais forcing the issue, so Kulikov sweeps it away from him, getting it to Goodbranson. Long pass up to Huberdeau. He'll step in over the line. Jonathan Huberdeau looks around, drops it off for Boyd. Out of his reach, but the Panthers keep it in.
It is their best period, the second period. This is when the Panthers usually strike. 78 second period goals compared to 40 in the first period. That's almost double.
Whoa, there's a tip in front, and that just missed the Montreal net. D.A. Parenteau steps in there. Pulls it back, looking for some late help, and that one goes into the middle of the ice for Jussi Jokinen. Back and forth he goes with Boyd. Jokinen on his backhand just gets it past Yemelin. Those 78 goals that Florida has scored, that is almost as many as they've scored in the first and third combined.
What's really hurt the Florida Panthers more than anything is 14 overtime losses. and another 10 shootout losses. That's 24 potential points that you've had to give away, and you're not going to get them all, but if you even had a quarter of them, you'd be in the playoffs. 45 one-goal games they've played in. That's the most in the National Hockey League. I mean, it's been a great season, but they've hurt themselves in a few areas.
Long stretch pass across. Price comes over to make the stop there. Trocheck still up there as Hayes got a good look at Carey Price. Backing up is Campbell. Campbell to Ekblad. Goes all the way down the ice, and Price will stop it up in behind his net. He'll move it himself. Kopetsky cut that off, and he steps in, snaps a shot, deflected up and over the net, where it's met by Prust. On the left side, goes across to Patterson, who had that big hit on Jimmy Hayes in the first period. Willie Mitchell, Petrovic, off the boards, met by Piquet at center. Here's Mitchell, in for Weiss. Weiss along the side, boards into the corner for Prust, back in front. Kopetsky's there to break it up, and the puck goes into the far corner. Now it's Prust, one hand on the stick, trying to work out of the corner, leaving it back there for Mitchell. Corey Mitchell across off the skates of Subban and out to the neutral zone. Now Piquet's got it right back. Muscling his way in. Here's Piquet in there. Luongo knocked it down. It goes behind the net. Piquet centers it, and Weiss couldn't find it on his stick. As a drive by Yellen, stopped by Luongo. And the rebound again, pushed wide. In behind the goal now is Prust. He'll walk out, can't get a shot as it goes across the goal mouth. Back to the point, good pressure by the Canadians. Yellen with a drive well wide of the mark. Subban knocks that down along the glass, but it comes to center ice.
Nice pressure by the Montreal Canadiens, really hemming the Panthers in their zone, and lots of pucks towards the net.
4.5 minutes with no whistles in this second period. Galchenyuk with a wrist shot. Barkov picks it up. Petrie snaps it right back in. And that is a delayed offside. Everybody's got to get out of there. Gallagher did not hear the referee saying that's offside, but that's the call. Let's go back to our Hockey Central control, and George Strombolopoulos has an update.
All right, thank you very much, David. Mark Stone had made it 1-0 for the Ottawa Senators over the Leafs until Curtis Lazar makes his way in. 6th of the year, 2-0 Ottawa. Back to you, Dave.
Good news for Sens fans. Bad news for Panther fans as they are trying to keep pace here with Ottawa and Boston. This one goes all the way down the ice. Beaulieu checks his shoulder, gets it to Petrie. Up the boards it goes. Back down towards Luongo.
Well, you can guarantee the Panthers are scoreboard watching, I'll tell you that. I don't know if they'll even flash the Ottawa score up in this building to incite the Panthers in any way. Here's the story of the game so far. It was a good solid hit by Patter, and Hayes thought he didn't have the puck. He thought it was interference. He showed way too much emotion over the top. Takes a penalty, and yes, this wasn't a power play goal, but Hayes never even gets out of the penalty box. It was a second after the penalty had expired, but nonetheless, a poor penalty by Hayes leads to the only goal of this game and the reason why the Panthers are down 1-0.
And sometimes that's all you need with Price, especially here on Saturday nights.
2 goals or less, and you know that's what Michel Therrien's talking about. As long as we're 2 goals or less, we'll have a chance to win every game, and Carey Price provides that for them.
Nathan Beaulieu goes into the middle for Delarose. Jacob Delarose down low for Beaulieu. Back to Delarose, who tried to get it there, and Campbell broke it up. Back out to center, and backing up is Subban. Stepping in now is Delarose, winds and fires. Kick saved by Luongo. Got a good look at that one, and the puck goes into the Canadiens bench.
Stay tuned later tonight as we announce the top 2 finalists for Kraft Hockeyville 2015. Brought to you by Maxwell House Coffee.
Well, it's not the kind that you want to have 3 games in 4 nights when the games are so important for the Florida Panthers, but they got no other choice. They have Montreal tonight and right away Ottawa tomorrow night, but Ottawa is in Toronto tonight. They've got that 2-0 lead, hoping to retake the playoff wildcard spot from away from the Boston Bruins, who took over that today.
And Luongo might have to play back-to-back. There's a drive wide of the mark. Right now his backup is Dan Ellis, who was recently called up after both the goalies got hurt for the Panthers. Back the other way comes Mitchell. Mitchell steps in, goes cross-ice looking for Prust. And again, broken up by the D. And Campbell quickly moved back up to Jágr. Jágr steps in to Huberdeau. Barkov in there, scores! What a goal by the Panthers. And it's all tied up as the big line strikes. 1-1.
Jaromir Jágr talked about it. He said, you know, we have to be better. Gerard Gallant has provided us with this line and hoping that we can produce, and we haven't been doing it. We've got to start producing for this team to make the playoffs. And right there, who's better at bringing the puck into the zone? Strong than Jágr. He dumps it off, and then right Barkov down the middle of the ice, and Huberdeau finds him. Good support by Huberdeau for the short pass from Jágr. And as the Canadians all flood to one side to pick up Huberdeau, nobody picks up number 16, Barkov, coming down the middle. That's a forehand, backhand, upstairs, under the crossbar for Barkov. What a nice goal. And we are all tied up at 1.
That line has been together really since Jágr arrived on the scene here with the Panthers, and they've been producing, and they do it again.
Well, Dale Talon wanted the experience of Jaromir Jágr with those younger players. They wanted them to play with Jaromir Jágr, and those guys are loving it.
And Barkov's career season continues, and this is his second campaign. That's thrown out in front of the net, and Luongo chips it to Brandon Pirri. Petrie has got his first point as a Canadian tonight. Keeps that puck in there. Here is Petrovic. Across looking for Trocheck. Trocheck working against Petrie. Here's Vince Trocheck, rubbed out of the play, chopped out of there by Plekanec. To the line, not out. Turned back in by Hayes. Hayes now deep in the corner, trying to wind his way out in front. Throws it back to the line for Mitchell. Mitchell's wrist shot knocked down, loose puck for Trocheck. And a good reaction save by Price. Price is beaten by Alexander Barkov, and we get a tie game at the Bell Center on Hockey Night in Canada.
If the playoffs were to start right now, these would be the matchups in the Eastern Conference in the first round. The Bruins and Rangers played today. The Bruins gave it to them on the return of Lundqvist. Capitals versus Canadians, the Red Wings and the Lightning, and the Red Wings beat the Lightning today. Another matchup, and Islanders Penguins. Would any of those teams want that other team to play in the first round? I would say I doubt it, and that's why the playoffs are so great, and the first round of the playoffs is so great, because a lot of those teams think they're going on far in the playoffs. And the answer is, somebody who thought they were going home late is going home early, and that's going to be great to watch. And that's only a few weeks away.
And there's a couple of teams not on that list, like Ottawa and Florida, the team we're watching here, that are trying to fight their way back in. Ottawa up 2-0, as you heard from George Stroumboulopoulos in Toronto. Patterson with a drive off a stick, wide of the mark.
What a run they've had. The Ottawa Senators and Brian Murray and Dave Cameron have really got things turned around there, and you got to give a lot of credit to the young players that have really stepped up and the play of the hamburger.
Here's Eller stepping in there. Lars Eller shoots and Luongo makes the save and covers up the rebound as Eller was looking for goal number 2 tonight.
He's been known to score them in bunches in games. He's had 4-goal games and 3-goal games, but he doesn't score a lot. And that's one of the things that's really been bothering me as far as Lars Eller, where I think for the ice time he gets, he should have more goals and more production. He is a good 200-foot player. He is a strong player. But he's got a goal tonight, and he walks right in there, and good save by Luongo. You know, he's one of those guys that wants to be a top 6 player on the Canadians, but he finds himself always in the 7 to 9 slot in the third line, and he's been a real good player in that slot. That's third line center that he's developed into, which is more of a checking role, and he's good at it. But you always want more production from a guy like Lars Eller, and you look at the Canadians' lack of scoring, and that's part of it. You know, Desharnais only got 13 goals. Eller's only got 12. You look at P.A. Parenteau, you know, he just had a rough year.
Desharnais right back in there off the turnover in the neutral zone. Snapped a shot wide of the mark.
And in saying all that, Canadians are in first place because of Carey Price and their division. They don't have to score much, but I'll tell you what, you got to give them a lot of credit in how they defend and how they play their system. They're very good at it.
Right now it's a tie game in the Montreal zone nearing the midway point of the second period. Here's PK, Serrano, look out, bounce right out in front, and they messed it up. What a chance there as Kopecky dropped it for McKenzie. And he zigged when he should have zagged. And they get no shot, and now the puck goes up and out of play.
One of the things that happened in Winnipeg the other night when the Montreal Canadiens lost 5-2 was their play around their net and some sloppy play. And right here, this is sloppy play. You throw a puck out like that, and Markov doesn't pick it up. Markov's looking for the bank play off the wall behind the net, which is the safe play. The one right out in front, that's the dangerous one, and it goes to Kopecky, and he walks right in, and almost that's a play you don't want to see.
Bullets dodged.
They had a lot of issues in that Winnipeg game around their nets, a miscommunication, and that was another one right there. And you look at Petrie and Yemelin were -4 in that game.
Each. Here's Plekanec down the loose puck in behind the Panthers' net. Trying to center in Galchenyuk. Working into the corner, held just up there by Trocheck. To the line, held by Beaulieu. Galchenyuk trying to step inside on Ekblad, who erased that immediately. Good quick stick by the 19-year-old. Here's Galchenyuk again. Out of the corner is Gallagher. Trying to cut in, threw it out in front, and that's broken up and skated away by the Panthers. Perry's pass intercepted by Beaulieu. Galchenyuk makes the play, takes the hit from big Jimmy Hayes. Here's Ekblad now. Up to Brandon Perry. With the 2 goals the other night against Toronto, the first time he's ever played at home in his hometown. So a thrill for him, as hot as he's been.
Coming from Toronto and having a 2-goal performance, that is something special, especially he won the elementary school city championship while he was in Toronto, so it just brings back a lot of memories to his friends that were at the game. And I love the way Aaron Ekblad uses his stick. I mentioned the fact that he's a half an inch too short to have a longer stick that you're allowed in the National Hockey League, but the stick is still extremely long, and look how he uses it. His gap control is extremely tight. He's already made his pivot from forward to backwards, and his stick is in your stick immediately, knocking the play out of harm's way. He's really good position defenseman. Dennis Potvin was just telling you before the game that he's so smart, and when the team, oh wow. Bad bounce there, almost caught Carey Price. He says when the team is losing, he leads the team in shots on net. And that shows you that when the team's behind, he realizes what he has to do. He starts jumping into the play more and creates offensive scoring chances for the Florida Panthers.
Yager line back out there. Causing trouble, puck bouncing around for Yager. The high slot trying to feed it down to Huberdeau and could not. Yager with another assist tonight. That is now 88 points in this his 78th game against Montreal in his career. Across to Yager, makes one move and steps in. Here he comes, goes across to Kulikov. Kulikov painted into the corner there, hit there by Mitchell. Yager keeps the puck moving and racing after it is Beaulieu. Back out to center and backing up. Play back onto the stick there of Jokinen into the middle, and here's Prust. Brandon Prust is going to go for a skate. Trying to get his way in there, and Petrovic took that puck off of his stick. Paddling with a drive right on, stopped by Luongo. Bouncing puck, settles down, and Weeds can't get it in there. Across to Mitchell. Mitchell just dumps that puck in. And we got ourselves a penalty call here. It's going to be interference, and the Florida Panthers get their first power play of the night. As Desharnais makes his way to the box, it's Panthers power play when we come back to Hockey Night.
When the puck is rimmed on the glass, most goaltenders will tell you stay in your net, and that's what Carey Price does. But you know what? Sometimes it doesn't work out almost, even if you stay in your net. He literally is thinking about jumping out of the way and letting that puck go through, because if it hits him, it's going into the net. And here's a look at your penalty by David Desharnais, who probably got caught with a little embellishment there by the Florida Panther, who went down pretty easy. There wasn't a lot of push on that stick by Desharnais, but nonetheless, he goes down. The Florida Panthers will go on the power play against a very, very good Montreal penalty-killing team. They had a bit of a rough stretch there for a while, allowing some power play goals when they've got it straightened out now and been much better in their last 5 games.
And especially at home where they're ranked second in the NHL. Going back to February 3rd, just one power play goal against on home ice in 12 games. Here's Campbell now. Chops to that puck, and it's going to be met by Petrie. Puts it up the boards. Brandon Pirri meets it, and he is surrounded, and this just gets out. Florida power play, no goals in its last 6 games, the longest power play drought in the NHL right now. Here's Hayes now, drops it off, boys. He's in a great shooting position, and the puck rolled away from him. Campbell across to Pirri. Pirri back up top to Brian Campbell. Campbell to Pirri, he can snap it. Boys, top of the circle, back it up, throws it down low to Hayes. Hayes walks out into the middle there for Jokinen. Fanned on the shot, and the Canadians send it down the ice.
Well, unfortunately, the one guy who's got the most power play goals just had back surgery in Bukestad, but they haven't had a lot of guys that have been able to really solve the power play problems all year. They're ranked near the bottom of the National Hockey League, and they just don't get enough pucks to the net.
Huberdeau now throws it back to the line for Kulikov. Here's Campbell. Line shoots right on, and Price makes the stop, and there is no rebound.
You're a minute and almost 20 seconds into your power play, and you've attempted one shot that's come from the outside the dots at the top of the circle from Campbell. I mean, this is just, one that you're just going to have a tough time beating Carey Price on, as Barkov in front literally moves out of the way of the shot, and Carey Price gets a good look at it all the way.
Canadians win the draw, pulled back there by Brian Flynn. Michel Therrien saying this is an opportunity to get Flynn into the lineup in place of Smith Pelly, and he wins a face-off there, killing some more valuable time in his PK. And speaking of PK, snaps that one around the boards. It's met by Lars Eller, and he was in a little bit too early. 17 seconds to go in the Darnay penalty.
You mentioned earlier that the Barkov line with Jágr and Huberdeau has been on a pretty good pace since Jágr's arrived, and there's a look at some of their numbers the last 13 games and the 10 goals between the three of them. But certainly that is the line that's going to have to heat up as they head down the stretch here if they're going to have any chance at getting into the playoffs. And that's their offensive line, and so far so good tonight as they've got the lone Florida goal and a nice little three-way pass play between Jágr, Huberdeau, and of course the recipient right in the slot, Barkov, as he backhand top shelf to Carey Price.
And they control off that draw. Barkov got it back. Now the corner, Huberdeau goes back to Ekblad. Back and forth he goes with Kulikov up top. Kulikov, little backhand feed. Huberdeau snaps one in a tip, scores. Barkov with his second of the night. A beautiful tip up high, glove side on Price. Power play goal, and it's 2-1 Panthers.
He does it in two different ways. The first goal he scores in the exact same place on a backhand deke top shelf. This one is a redirect. And this is a play that you cannot stop. And a lot of teams are using this. They move that 1-3-1 guy, which is Barkov, a little bit higher into the slot, and you shoot for his stick. Okay, because he's not going to be able to stop it, or the defenseman's going to be all over him. Look at Yemlin, he's in so tight. But what you can do is just change the direction of the puck. Barkov opens up the blade. Huberdeau puts a nice hard pass onto his stick. He opens the blade, and he directs it top shelf in the same location as he scored the first one. And that's the only way you beat Carey Price. You got to get him around the bars. And they're up 2-1.
On both goals scored by Barkov, who scored 8 goals last season. It was his first year in North America. Coming over from Finland. Big hit along the side boards as Darnay is buried, and now we got a penalty call coming up here. The initial hit was made on a Darnay, and then Bolin came in, and he's getting it. Well, Monday, on an all-new Scorpion at 9 Eastern and Pacific on City, Team Scorpion tries to protect a key witness set to testify against a deadly drug cartel by taking her on the run at Scorpion.
Dave Bolin will head to the penalty box for cross-checking, and you'll see right there on the right of your screen, there's the first hit right there. That one was not a penalty. There's the penalty on Parento. Bolin comes in and puts him into the wall, and he will head to the box. And the Montreal Canadian power play, which got a goal, but wasn't a power play goal. Hayes in the second out of the box. We'll see if they can't get this game all tied up here.
Chance to enter right back with a man advantage. Here's a chance for Mitchell to send this one down the ice. Willie Mitchell just flips it in there. Thomas Kopecky, two-time Stanley Cup champion is Kopecky.
How do you, if you're the coach of the Florida Panthers, you've got 40 first period goals, and now you've got 80 second period goals. How do you justify a 40-goal differential between two periods? Incredible.
Been a lot of joking in the media that Gerard Gallant must have a heck of a speech in first intermission.
I'll say. There's no paint left on the walls.
Thomas Plekanec off the half boards, goes down low to Galchenyuk. Back to the line for Markov. Markov, Plekanec down low. This is Galchenyuk walking in there. Wolf Daddy, Galchenyuk, tie game.
That's how you score number 20. He's been sitting on 19 for quite some time. And the Montreal power play finally strikes. They got one earlier, and it's not a power play goal, but it might as well have been one. And right there, the Florida Panthers allow a left-hand shot to walk out way too far. There's no way Luongo can protect this. Mitchell has left way too much room for Galchenyuk to come out on his forehand. And when he does, he's able to wait out Luongo. He's able to wait. Watch as he steps out. Wait as he has a look, and now he just roofs it right over the shoulder of Luongo. What a nice goal by Galchenyuk. And he reaches the 20-goal plateau.
First career 20-goal season for Alex Galchenyuk. 5 minutes to go. Second period, all tied up at 2. A win for the Canadians, and they are officially into the playoffs. You know that's going to happen, but they'd love to punch their ticket here on a Saturday night home game against a desperate Panthers team trying to stay alive.
Well, Gerard Gallant was shaking his head when Bolin took that penalty, and I know he wasn't happy when Hayes took his. The Montreal Canadiens have scored on both of those.
Out of the corner, there's Peary to break that one up. And now he'll skate it away, but it got away from him. Now bounced up ahead for Eller. Eller was going to hop in his step, but he is a little too quick, and he knocked it down with a high stick, so the whistle comes. There's Alex Galchenyuk with goal number 20, 2-2.
Welcome back, Roberto Luongo. It all started here. He grew up in Montreal. That's him as a 14-year-old. He only started playing goal as an 11-year-old, and what a career it's been. 15 years, and he's on the cusp of joining the 400-win club. 399 wins. He'll be joining and passing the likes of Chris Osgood, Grant Fuhr, and Glenn Hall. He's just 8 wins behind that trio, so he's going to move into the top 5 or 6 very quickly. And what a year it's been, the 35-year-old. He's already passed Jacques Plante in games played. He's passed out Belfour for 4th all-time in saves, and he's also passed Patrick Waugh for 13th all-time in shutouts. Dave.
He played a Memorial Cup, silver medal of the World Juniors, a World Championship gold medal, Olympic gold medals as well. Stanley Cup final appearance. He's really got quite the resume, doesn't he?
Look at the size of him as an Islander when he first got drafted.
Eller tries to throw it in front, bouncing puck there for Flynn, who keeps it alive. Eller in behind the net now. Ekblad leaning on him. Campbell comes in to help out. Hard work there by Eller against the heavy defenseman of Aaron Ekblad.
The one piece of equipment that has really changed the goaltending and the size of the goaltender is that chest protector. And you look at how thin he looked in the Islander sweater, and then you go to the next clip, and he looks much larger as a Florida Panther.
Back to the line for Mitchell. His drive is blocked right in front of him by Flynn, who sends it just enough down the ice to relieve the pressure and allow Montreal to change. On the long change here in the second. And now Florida has iced it.
Mentioned Roberto Luongo, and you look at the equipment, it's always been an ongoing conversation with goaltenders, and it's always interesting when you go back in time and you look at them when he was an Islander, and then you look at him a few years later and how big the body of the goaltender has got. And a lot of it has to do with the changing of equipment and the sticks and the velocity of the puck, and you got to make sure you're protected. But some of the equipment has gotten large over the years, and they're certainly a lot harder to find holes on than they used to.
His first start in his hometown was January of 2000. He was 20 years of age. As mentioned, he'll turn 36 next Saturday night. 2-2 game here. He's looking for win number 400, but more importantly, the 2 points that go with it. Up ahead here is Mitchell. Mitchell against Mitchell. Pulled out of the corner there by Boys, who puts that off the glass, and Patterson flips it right back the other way. And Montreal's offside entering the zone, or that's a hand pass, actually, that drew the whistle.
Well, as Galchenyuk gets the tying goal for the Montreal Canadiens, a power play goal at that, and he had only scored 1 goal in his previous 15 games. It was not really happening for him, and the one thing Michel Therrien has always done with Galchenyuk is he's stayed with him no matter what. He loves this kid. He loves the way he's just growing as a player, and one day they keep talking about using him as a centerman. But he's played well on the wing.
They've briefly experimented with him at center ice this season.
He feels like he changes his game when he puts him at center. He tries to be too responsible, and he takes away from some of his creativity.
And he's got the puck now. Backhand feed cut off by Upshaw. Upshaw in for Kopetsky. He was broken up there by Patterson. Here is Greg Patterson. No points in the NHL yet for Patterson, who's played over 50 games in the AHL this season. This is 14th game of this season in the NHL. Campbell puts it in there. Beaulieu turns it over in behind the net to Barkov. Back to Ekblad. His wrist shot over the glove of Price. Back across. There's Ekblad. Snaps it in there. Knocked down to the line and not out. Now it goes off the shin pads, and that'll get it away from Montreal's zone for the moment. Ekblad for Barkov, who's got 2 tonight. Flips it in there, and he was looking backside for Huberdeau. Jeff Petrie now. He's a great skater. Up the ice he comes, drops it off, past somebody with a wrist shot. And Luongo makes a stop on Max Pacioretty. As we take you back downstairs to David Amber.
Well, Dave, at this time of year, every game matters. So let's check out our Budweiser Red Light scoreboard. We see Senator fans will be interested to see that the Florida Panthers obviously are tied here, and it's 2-0 for them over the Leafs. Minnesota 2-0 over LA. Vancouver and Calgary fans have to like that score as well. Dave.
I'm not sure if you're the Ottawa Senators, you're worried about Florida as much as you are about Boston right now. You've got to get ahead of teams in front of you. If Florida catches up, then hey, but you got to continue to work ahead of the Boston Bruins. For the Florida Panthers, you got to catch those 2 teams, both of them. And they're looking in the rearview mirror, and you got the game tonight here, and then you've got Ottawa, and then you got Boston if you're the Florida Panthers. And in those 3 games, it will dictate maybe them making the playoffs or not.
They'll finish their regular season at home, and their whole goal was to go out on this 5-game road trip and just come home alive with a chance. And Gerard Gallant has really done a great job, the former Montreal Canadian assistant coach, with this group that's got a lot of young and a lot of old.
Well, he's done a great job, and I don't know if he'll win Coach of the Year, but at the end of the day, he's established a structure here that has allowed this team to be competitive on a nightly basis. And this isn't a fluke with this team. I think if they've had any luck at all in the overtime games and in the shootouts, if they had any luck there at all, they'd be sitting in a playoff spot.
Barkov carries the puck in, shovels it wide of the net. Subban hustles over there to keep it in, and he does. Here's Flynn now with a little room in behind the net. He is hit there by Trocheck. As the players battle for the puck along the end boards, carried out by Flynn back to the line. Final minutes, second period. Another tight one between these two. They've had 1-goal games in the previous 3 meetings. Here's Peary now. Peary trying to get free, trying to center it, and sprawling to break that up was PK Subban.
Well, he's been one of the most dangerous players in the National Hockey League down the last 22 games, as he's got 17 goals. And he's got a great release, and right here he just doesn't get enough time to get it off. And a good play by PK Subban as this play breaks down, and it's a 2-on-1 to the net, and a slide just blocks any opportunity for Peary to get this thing over to Hayes. As you see the stumbling Markov trying to get back into the play. Good job by his partner PK Subban to take away the pass down low, and Peary just could not get a good look at getting that above the sliding body.
And I think that bears repeating what you just said. 17 goals in his last 22 games.
It's a great story. I mean, he's had a concussion this year that's really held him out for a period of time, but boy, he's been on a heck of a run down the last month and a half. Seven goals in his last 7 games, and he's had 31 shots on net. I mean, he is all around the net. Just watching him in the warm-up, he has got a crazy release.
Puck goes around the boards. Boys is there to chop at it, and he just gets it around a couple of Canadians before it's hammered back in by Jeff Petrie.
It doesn't seem like a lot, but for Boys, you just have to get the puck over that blue line an inch, and all the Canadians have to exit the zone. It doesn't seem like a big play, but for the guys on the bench, that's a huge play, clearing the zone for the Panthers.
Whoa, one chance right as the buzzer sounds to end that second period, but it stays 2-2. Coming up in our second intermission at Saturday's Headlines with Damian Cox and Elliot Friedman, but there is the guy who has tied the game, Alex Galchenyuk, with his 20th of the season. It is 2-2 here in Montreal. You are watching Hockey Night in Canada.
Welcome back to the Bell Center. UP's feeling pretty good, and why not? The Canadians are 9-1-5 when tied going into the third period. A very good finishing team are the Montreal Canadiens. Let's take a look at our Budweiser Red Light scoreboard. We see the LA Kings are on the board, still trailing the Wild, though, 2-1. The Leafs are also on the board, trailing the Sens 2-1. Our nightcap, the Stars and the Canucks. Let's get you upstairs for the third period. Dave Randorf and Gary Galley, and what is promising to be a very good finish. Guys.
Thanks very much. Welcome back to the Bell Center, everyone. Gary?
Well, the story of the game, as you saw in the first goal, deep backhand Barkov, and I think it's been the penalties, and there Boland's hit on Parento. Not a smart penalty to take, and that leads to another opportunity for Montreal's power play, which is starting to get a bit of groove and rhythm. And I think Gerard Gallant is not going to be very pleased with the timing of some of the penalties. The Yager penalty, yeah, it's a good penalty, and you usually kill those. But when you take the sloppy ones like Hayes and Boland have done, somehow those find a way to jump up and bite you, and they have in this game. And the games are too important for Florida at this point to be taking those penalties.
Barkov's line right back out there to start this third period. That's the first career 2-goal game for Alexander Barkov. Thomas Plekanec flips this one ahead, and Galchenyuk goes in there after it against Kulikov. Kulikov got there first. They push it up the boards to Yager. And Kulikov spins it in. That one is up the boards off the stick of Parenteau, and back to get it is Willie Mitchell. Here is Petrovic. Petrovic tried to go up high, and then is knocked down by Parenteau. Now he's forced to back up. Mitchell, late to get there against Pacioretty, puts it near side, and it's chipped off the boards by Jimmy Hayes. That long reach trying to get around Beaulieu. Here's Peary now, sweeps it in there, and Beaulieu knocked it down. The opposite side of the net was Hayes. They work it back to the line. Campbell banks it off the boards. Peary's got it. And Patterin knocked it away from him. Here's Ekblad. Trying to corral a bouncing puck, and bouncing David Desharnais as well. Here's Subban now. Backs up at center ice. Across to Markov. In for Flynn. Puck bounces out to the middle of the ice, and then it's sent down by Florida. Andrei Markov hustles back, and Carey Price watches that as the icing call is made. Well, tomorrow on Rogers Hometown Hockey, big game. The Chicago Blackhawks in Winnipeg to take on the Jets. Plus, Ron McLean hosts the pregame show live from the Sportsnet mobile studio from Lethbridge, Alberta, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, right here on City.
Look at Lars Eller taking this draw. He's played as much in the first 2 periods as he played all night long in Winnipeg the other night. His 3rd lowest of the year. Played 10 minutes and 33 seconds in the complete game, and tonight after 2 he had played almost that exactly. So obviously Lars Eller feeling more comfortable in the middle of the ice. As a winger, he just found his way slowly to the 4th line, and here I think they need to find a spot for him on that 3rd line, make him feel comfortable, because he can be an effective player.
And Florida, not a great face-off team, has had the edge after 2 periods in the face-off department. They control that draw and send it down to the Montreal zone. Collision along the end boards. Flynn digs it free and skates it up the right side to center and in. But Branson has Delarose pressuring him from the backside, but he gets it away to Boyd. Boyd's trying to get it into the middle, and now Kulikov over center. Look out, saw Patterson coming. He's been throwing his weight around tonight.
A solid hit on Kulikov.
Stepping in is Mitchell. Across to Weiss. Snapped the shot, blocked by Goodbranson. Here's Prust now. Brandon Prust throws it back the line. Patterson, no lane to shoot. Luongo's lost his stick in between the pipes. Now he's got a chance to retrieve it as Florida fires that one in. Off the end boards. Ekblad against Patterson, who's back there again. Puck bounces around and Torrey Mitchell comes up with it. Mitchell goes across. Beaulieu's pass tipped in there by Galchenyuk. Stopped by Luongo, and Ekblad spins it near side for Campbell. Campbell steps out in front of his own net. It has to get it to Ekblad in the corner. Good forecheck there by the Canadians, and they send it back in. Barkov bats it ahead to Huberdeau. Huberdeau can't skate around Petrie. Stops up, curls it back at his backhand to the line. Here's Petrovic. Fans on that shot, and it goes in behind the net for Jágr. Jágr with an assist tonight. Back to line for Petrovic. Petrovic's wrist shot snared by the glove of Price.
Sometimes when you try to get to the red line so you don't ice the puck, you put yourself in a vulnerable position. And Kulikov here, as he's trying to get to the red line to dump this puck in, he waits too long. The puck rolls on him. That makes him vulnerable, and that's when Patterson comes over and lays it on him. Aaron Ekblad, who's played a pretty solid game tonight, comes over and goes to slash at the stick of Brandon Prust, but catches the actual wrist. And Brandon Prust went off the ice. He's sitting on the end of the bench, and he's had the trainer having a look at that hand, and they're trying to apply some freezing to it. It's a topical freezing they spray on there to hope get some of the discomfort out of it so you continue to play and hold your stick. And I'm not sure how much it's helping. He's still grimacing.
Brandon Prust missed 30 games last season, has played every game in this campaign. In towards the net, knocked down by Piquet to the line, held by Petrovic. Jarred loose, and Eller is back there. Skates it away straight up the middle of the ice. Goes wide side, and then they are offside entering the zone. That was a good-looking rush, but it's offside, Montreal.
I think Flynn's got to take it into the zone. I think he moves the puck from the front stance over to the side. And watch him when he moves the puck over to the side. Right there. He moves it over to the right, and as he does, that split second, as Eller's timing it to hit the line, it just goes offside. And that's all it takes. I mean, to go full speed and hit the line and not slow up, you got to have it all timed together, and sometimes one little zig or one little movement of the puck 6 to 8 inches just doesn't take it over the line quick enough.
Flynn, whose last game was March 16th. Desharnais gets it to Pacioretty. Pacioretty in there for P.A. Parenteau. Parenteau to Markov. Waiting for it behind the net was Desharnais. It took a bounce out in front, but Luongo was ready for that. Here comes Jussi Jokinen. He is 1-on-2. Jokinen pulls up. Two-man challenged him, and Jokinen knocks it down, throws it in the middle of the ice, and there is Markov in front of his own net. Up to Pacioretty. Back Pacioretty steps in. Couldn't release the shot. There's one from Parenteau. Weak and wide. And Kulikov has it. Dave Bolland, another two-time Stanley Cup champion. That's one thing about the Panthers. They've got some guys who've been there and done that.
Dale Talon was with the Chicago Blackhawks when they won the cup, and he's brought people with cup. He knows how important it is to have a guy with a cup and a ring on their finger to have around your locker room. And he is trying to fill his team with as many as he can to help teach these young kids. And Jaromir Jagr's got a few cups as well with the Pittsburgh Penguins. And when you start rubbing elbows with the likes of Wayne Gretzky, Mark Messier, Gordie Howe, and Ron Francis, you know you've come a heck of a long way. And Jaromir Jagr sitting on the heels of his old teammate in Pittsburgh, Ron Francis. And to think that he was in the KHL for 3 years and also missed considerable time with a couple of lockouts and a strike. And nice to be able to say that there's still people in this league that I actually played against. And there's not many of them, but I'll tell you.
And how did that work out?
You know what? Man, I went to, in the semifinals against the Pittsburgh Penguins. I was with the Boston Bruins at the time, and we had the Penguins down 2-0, and we thought we were heading to the finals against the Minnesota North Stars, and we had a good record against them, and we had lost in the finals the year before to Boston, and boy, the Pittsburgh Penguins just lit us up 4 straight. And gave us the boot, and what a player he was, and what a team they had. You know, with Tocchet and the likes of Kevin Stevens, what a power forward he was, and Mark Recchi, and Jagr, Lemieux, Francis, Koch. It's just incredible team. I think they should have won more. It was hard to believe that they didn't win more.
Now at 43 years of age, a report out of Florida saying today that Dale Talon and Jagr's agents started conversations about a new contract.
Hey, you want to stick around. Your relationship with Barkov and Huberdeau is huge. If you can form that.
Here's Trocheck now, drops it off. Brandon Perry spins around. Waiting for it is Hayes. He can't corral it. It's pushed up the boards for Gallagher. Gallagher picks that puck out of the fly, but Perry stripped him of the puck. Now he's got it back. Here is Gallagher. He is squished along the boards there by Ekblad. Keeps going. Into the corner, and now it is Trocheck. Sent in there. Price watches that one. There's been some crazy bounces around the nets tonight. Here's Perry with a wrist shot. Well wide of the mark. Mitchell takes a look. Gallagher watching him, and he puts it into the corner just off the stick of Trocheck. Hayes leans on his man, and they work into the near corner. Up ahead to Galchenyuk. Petrovic right back there to cover Alex Galchenyuk. Here's Bolland now. And Petrovic with lots of time while both teams complete a change. 7 minutes gone, third period. Tie game, 2-2. Petrie now. Can't get it past Boyes, so they try the opposite side, and that one hops over the stick of Petrovic. Mitchell right onto the tape of Boyes. And it's knocked down at the line, and it is whistled down with a hand pass. The Montreal Canadiens having an extraordinary season in the house that this extraordinary man helped build.
Hey, Dave and Gary, we talked about Jaromir Jagr being the elder statesman in the NHL. Well, it's not lost on some of the young players. PK Subban last night ran into JJ at a restaurant. He said, I got to take a picture with you. You were one of my favorite players growing up. My dad loves the way you play. You've inspired me to play the sort of puck possession game and be hard on the puck and play the style I play. So real big accolades to Jaromir Jagr from this guy, PK Subban. Dave?
And you know what the cool thing is, Gary, is that just that. Players, stars around the NHL are fans of this guy. They realize what he has accomplished.
Well, it's amazing. The longevity part of it is truly amazing in itself. But then you look at the numbers he's put up, how healthy he's remained, too. Like, he's a very durable player as well. And his size and his reach and ability, he's a big, heavy guy, and he's hard to knock off the puck. It's like PK as well. PK's a big man, and when he gets the puck controlled on his stick and he uses his body extremely well to shield people, that's what Jaromir Jagr loves to do, and he's hard to defend against. He's got an extremely long reach. He can move the puck from side to side. He's moving it almost 12 feet. He's a tough guy to really get under wraps.
Here's Darren A dancing in, trying to snap a shot. Kulikov got his stick in the lane. Boys chop that past Markov, and they step in. Here's Jokinen moving in now. Back for Bolin. Bolin shoots, and he whistled that one just wide. Had a great look. And hammered it wide of the net. Eric Goodbranson, long lead feed. Little backhand pass to Jagr. You talk about chemistry. How's that?
Well, Huberdeau talked to Dave Amber in the intermission, and he just said how great it was to play with him. Talks on the bench has taught them quite a bit. And that's music to the ears of Dale Talon, and that's the reason why he brought Jagr in. One of the reasons was to help them get into the playoffs, but also to teach these kids how to be good pros. And that's the one thing about Jaromir Jagr. You don't last in this game unless you become a good pro. And that's rubbing off on some of the youngsters. They've been on for two of the goals, both goals for Florida tonight, this line. And Jagr's had a couple of real good chances himself. That last one was a toe drag that Alexei Yemelin slid down and took the puck off the stick on, but he's still slick with the puck.
Such a big star here in the NHL and a huge star back home in the Czech Republic. A team that he has represented many times in international competition. A member of the Triple Gold Club. Bouncing puck corralled by Plekanec, trying to spin it back in there, but Jagr's got it. Jagr to Barkov. Barkov's going to step in. Wide side, Campbell in, shoots, and another glove save made by Carey Price.
Great to activate the D, and Campbell's always been such a great skater. And Jagr realizes he's not going to push forward. He hits the underneath Barkov, and what a game Barkov has had as he sees Campbell coming in down the far side, and Campbell elects to go with the little snapshot. He doesn't get a lot on it. It's not a lot of mustard on the shot. A relatively easy save for Carey Price.
Flynn in to take this defensive zone face-off against Trocheck. And it's pulled back for Montreal. Petrovic trying to hold the line and can't. So Florida's got it clear, and that allows Montreal to get it out of there. Into the middle of the ice. Here comes Flynn in across. Looking for Owen. Hopped over his stick. What a chance there for Lars Eller, who's got one tonight. Swing and a miss on that one. Luongo sweeps it to Petrovic. Up the boards. Hayes chops at it. This one rolls down. Icing waved off. Patterson checks his shoulder. Sees a man coming and walking out of the corner. In front now is Hayes. And sprawling to break that up was Beaulieu. Dale Weiss, he's 1-on-3. He'll chip it in there. Go in there against Mitchell. Kopetsky sends that one the length of the ice where it's picked up by Petrie. Here's Yemelin now. Saw some pressure. Flips it up in the air. Teams are lobbing it back and forth right now with 7 minutes to go. Just 18 shots apiece for these teams tonight. Here's Brandon Cross. Pulls it towards the net. Cross now out of the corner. Shaken up earlier, right back out there. Yemelin pokes at that to keep the puck inside the line. Tries to get it into the corner where it's pulled up by Weiss. Dale Weiss snaps the shot inside the great out. Mitchell can't bury it. Luongo's down. Puck is still loose. Great chance there. And they still got the puck in the zone. Into the corner now. Brandon Prust up high looking for Torrey Mitchell, and it got away from him. Yemelin hammers that puck in. Broken stick on the ice right to the right of Luongo. And you see Jokinen flips it ahead. Subban being watched by boys. Gets it away to Markov. Markov banks it off the boards. Knocked down by Ekblad. Ekblad trying to find Bolin as the Bell Center comes alive down the stretch. Ekblad flips it back to center. Markov goes up. Back into the center ice area. Stepping in now is Jokinen. Here's Bolin. Slap pass goes off a skate. Boy stays on it, but it bounces right to Markov. Up to Pacioretty. Max Pacioretty tries to step in. Shoots. Luongo a loose puck for Markov, and he can't get there. Was one step too late. Here's Huberdeau with some room. Down the right side, stops up. Huberdeau looking for some help off the bench, and he gets it. Here's Petrovic now towards the net, looking for the tip from Barkov. Now it's Florida's turn to stir it up down here. Here's Jagr trying to back out against Galchenyuk. Throws it back the line. Across to Petrovic. His drive blocked by Gallagher. Puck goes into the corner, picked up by Huberdeau. Spun back. Barkov there. Now there's room for Jagr. Winds it in front. They jam away. Puck is loose, and now it goes into the corner. Jagr to Barkov. Petrovic across. Mitchell shoots. Price to stop. Jagr, it's his puck right now. Steps up. Galchenyuk's down. Barkov picks up his stick that he had lost. And finally, the Canadians relieve the pressure and get some tired legs off the ice. Petrovic almost gave it up there to De La Rose. Beaulieu sets it up for Petrie. Petrie backs up and goes cross ice. Right out of the stick. Jacob De La Rose steps in. The youngster dumps it in there. Branson hit by Eller. Rolls off that check and gets it away to Brandon Pirri. Pirri steps away from Eller. He's at center. Wide side. Trocheck. Now the left wing boards, trying to throw it back. Held by Branson. Wrist shot. Just past the stick of Price. Beaulieu takes a hard hit by that freight train, Eric Branson, but the Canadians step in back the other way. Here's Flynn. Flynn. Help was arriving a little bit late, so he puts it in there. And that one is again whistled down due to a hand pass. 3:43 to go, and the temperature is rising in Montreal tonight. Brandon Prust throwing his weight around. It's a tie game on Hockey Night. Welcome back. I want to remind you that the top of the clock in Vancouver, the back end of the Hockey Night doubleheader on CBC. The Vancouver Canucks at home to the hot Dallas Stars, who have won 7 of their last 10. So that is coming up. Jim Houston and Craig Simpson have the call from Rogers Arena. Here at the Bell Center, it is 2-2. Gary?
A couple of great opportunities for the Montreal Canadiens. Torrey Mitchell still looking for his first point as a Montreal Canadian. Has the side of the net, and he kind of misfires as Luongo comes across, and then Campbell staring down at the puck, and you do not want to do that against a guy like Max Pacioretty, who's got 35 goals, back-to-back 35-goal seasons for the American-born Max Pacioretty, and he's done an abundance of the Montreal Canadiens scoring, and when you stare down at the puck on a player like him, he is so shifty. He took the puck from his backhand to his forehand, and all of a sudden, he's staring right inside the hash marks at Luongo, and what a save. What a young player he's turned out to be. More of a leader now with the Montreal Canadiens. And he does so much. You go back to that Ottawa game where he had the power play goal and the shorthanded goal all in one period. Just goes to show you what kind of well-rounded player Max Pacioretty has become for the Montreal Canadiens.
He is second in the NHL in shots on goal, but shots are hard to come by tonight.
I'll say.
Yeah, you think?
It's a desert. I mean, both these, and Gerard Gallant, you know, he was coaching here in Montreal, and he knows the style of the Montreal Canadiens. And for the Florida Panthers to be successful, one of the things they had to do was cut down their goals against. Be a better defensive team. Not just defensemen be better, but you have the good goaltender. Let's structure this thing so we're responsible defensively and keep these games at 2 goals or less, and we'll have a chance to win them. And for the Florida Panthers, they've done a very good job at that. Their last 10 games, they've allowed 2 goals or less.
Barkov, Plekanec. Barkov pulls it to the boards, goes in after it. Huberdeau in support, into the corner for Jagr. Huberdeau in there against Yemelin. And they pull it off. Look out. Here's Campbell off his skate to his stick. Shoots, and it's blocked in front of Price. Here's Jagr up high. Ekblad. So Barkov. Barkov back into the corner for Huberdeau. Makes one little move, and then another. Throws it back to Ekblad. His wrist shot. Price down. Puck is loose. And there is Gallagher to clear it. Big stop. And now it's a 2-on-1 the other way. Here's Plekanec across. Gets in it. Plekanec. No! It goes in behind Luongo and out the other side. They center it again. Gallagher's in there. Down low and Franson. That snap just wide. PK just missed. What a chance at either end. 2.5 minutes to go. Markov, wrist shot, knocked down. Back to the defenseman. He can't get it past Yager. Gallagher chopping at it. Yager gets it out. Desharnais steps in, leaves it for Markov. Markov stripped by Jokinen. Jussi Jokinen settles things down and puts it into the Montreal zone. Markov gets it to Subban and waits for it in the corner. Flips it all the way down, and he's got Desharnais on the fly. David Desharnais into the middle for Parenteau, and Kulikov busted that up. Final 2 minutes, and here comes Florida. Jokinen cuts in, backhander, Price makes the save on Jussi Jokinen and hangs on.
We waited 47 minutes, but the last 3 minutes have been unbelievable as Ekblad's getting some attention. I'm not sure if it knocked his tooth out or not, but what a pass here out to Campbell. And again, he doesn't get a lot in his shot. I'm not sure if he's got some form of hand injury, but his 2 wrist shots have not been strong enough to beat Carey Price. And then it turns into this shot by Ekblad that comes to the net. As we see Ekblad get a stick in the... What a 3-on-1 here as Campbell gets caught up ice, and I do not know how that thing didn't find the back of the net as Gallagher was looking to celebrate. And Luongo almost pulled it out from behind him.
I'll tell you what, the veteran in his hometown, he's been a big part of the story tonight. Roberto Luongo keeping that one out. It is desperation time right here, right now for he and his teammates. And they're playing just like it. Face off deep in the Montreal zone. McKenzie is out there to take the draw for Florida against Lars Eller. Won cleanly by Eller. Petrie round the boards. Got past Flynn. Sent back in by Petrovic. Price slows it up for Jeff Petrie. In for Flynn. Cross-ice feed on the backhand to Yemelin. Sent in, Eller in there against Luongo, sweeps it into the corner. And with a stoppage in play, let's send you back to Hockey Central Control. An update from George.
All right, thank you very much, guys. Tyler Bozak had a couple of goals in the game, both assisted by JVR and Phil Kessel. But look at this. Bozak throws one up. Kessel gets the tip in. That happened with 1.5 minutes to go. That game is going overtime.
And the plot thickens for the Ottawa Senators and the team that's chasing them, the Florida Panthers.
Well, Petrovic throws this puck, and the referee says he dinged it off the glass, but Lars Eller doesn't agree. I'm not sure it hit the glass or not, but that's the call on the ice. That would have been a crazy penalty for the Panthers to take.
Instead, the Canadians control off the draw. They flipped out in front. Big traffic, and somehow Luongo finds it with another stick and hangs on for another draw.
They're getting into that point right now where you might as well be in overtime. And for the Montreal Canadiens, they have took a few pucks to the net here, and the last one was almost a 3-on-1. And this one here, you dump it at the net, and who's in front but Brendan Gallagher, and he's battling away at it. Who else would you picture to be in front of the net but Brendan Gallagher? There's Gerard Gallant carefully selecting his players, and the one thing is you don't want to lose the draw clean. If you're not going to win it clean, at least scramble it and give yourself a chance to be positionally sound as you battle for it. The last draw was just too clean to lose for Florida.
That time Dave Bolin was there. But Montreal gets possession of the puck. Here's Galchenyuk now. Galchenyuk giving a rough ride there from the Florida captain. Back up on his feet. And now Jokinen puts it off the leg of Markov. Little help there from Subban, and Markov's back up with the puck. Off the window and down the ice. Final minute, regulation. No goals here in the third period. 2-2 tie. In behind the Montreal net. Barkov trying to dig it free, and he does. Works it back to Gudbranson. Gudbranson shoots, and that's kicked aside by Price. Back to the line, and it hops away from Erik Gudbranson. Chops at it hard, and it almost was off to the races there for Desharnais. Back in there, Price calmly cooling. Look out! Carey Price was taken out behind the play by his own teammate, Subban, and he is slow to get up.
That would be a monumental loss for the Montreal Canadiens. As with not a lot of time left on this clock, dwindling into overtime almost, there's going to be a collision behind the net. Here comes PK Subban, and he's thinking Carey Price is going to chip it, and as he does, he loses his balance. Why he's cruising in behind him, I don't know, but he loses his balance, and as he does on the edge of his skate, and he's telling the trainer, I got no edge. I have no edge. I can't go on the ice. I can't stand up. When you have no edge, when you go to turn, it's like stepping on a banana peel. And right there, you see him lose his balance, and that could have been a serious knee injury to Carey Price. Dodged a major bullet there.
Remember, PK lost his edge in the first period, and it was a chance that ended up right with Jaromir Jagr, forcing Price to make a good stop.
Well, the trainer put the stone on it, and they've got these different stones they use for different types of what they call a burr in the blade. Some of them will rub the burr out. Sometimes you need to have the skate done, and he may have this done before the overtime starts.
Well, we do have overtime. Carey Price stays in the game. He's running in everybody out there. Overtime coming up next at Hockey Night. Thanks, George. Welcome back to the Bell Center. And the third time this season, the Florida Panthers and the Montreal Canadiens are playing some overtime.
Tight games. You think Gerard Gallant knows the Canadiens a little bit, knows how to play them? Carey Price has been beaten twice tonight by Barkov, and both goals were absolute beauties. No chance. A backhand under the shelf, and then a nice deflection under the crossbar. And that's how the only way you're going to beat Carey Price. And here's two goaltenders who respect one another immensely, having a little chat before this overtime starts.
A little over a year ago, they were teammates in Sochi.
Luongo looking for win number 400 in his career. If he can get the win here tonight, and Carey Price chasing down Ken Dryden and Jacques Plante, who is only 2 wins away from tying their single-season win record at 42 wins. So both goaltenders battling to edge their way into what will be their legacy at some point in time when this game is all done for them. But so far for tonight.
Look out, here's Jagr, the all-time overtime goal winner. Here's Campbell with a drive, and he whistles that one high and wide. Jagr, who knows what time it is in overtime. Here's Yebelin now. He'll step in. Alexei Yebelin deep into the corner, being watched by Ekblad. Gets it to David Desharnais as Montreal goes to work in the Florida zone. Subban off the bench. Drops it off. Here's Yebelin now. Backs up. Near side for Pacioretty. Subban back to Yebelin. Over to David Desharnais. To some open ice, and now Campbell has it. Subban races in there. Little back pass. Broken up by Jokic, but Subban's in behind the net now. Now a chance for Jagr to get it away. And he does. Jokinen off his skates, and Subban has it now. PK Subban winds it up, heads back the other way, stops up, just inside the line. PK into the corner, Gallagher shoots, sharp angled shot. Luongo ready for that. Out of the corner is Gallagher. Here's Markov. Markov switches places with PK, walks it across, flips it over to Subban, takes it off the board, steps around from Huberdeau. And Campbell strips him of the puck. But now Subban's got it back. PK snares it. Almost took a bounce in, but it goes behind the net. Here's Gallagher. Markov towards the net. Steered aside. Loose puck. Buchanan's on it. Ekblad on him. Back to the line. Great pressure by Montreal. Here's Subban. Here's Markov. Markov. Gallagher shoots. Blocked. Huberdeau's got it. And Florida's going to get a chance to skate it out. Montreal completes the change. Lead pass right into the middle. Huberdeau gets it back. Toe drag. And then leads it for Trocheck. Penalty call coming up here, and it's going to go against Florida. Montreal's going to get a power play in overtime here. Here's Eller trying to head up the ice. Lars Eller being hounded there by Perry, steps in. Lars Eller, Montreal trying to set up shop here with the extra man on. Here's Beaulieu. Nathan Beaulieu into the corner, throws it back. Max Pacioretty. Jeff Petrie now. He'll go across. Beaulieu to Petrie. Petrie taking a look. Extra attacker on the ice. Galchenyuk winds. Slap pass. Pacioretty out of the corner. Can't shoot. No room. Kulikov on him. Here's Iller. Branson leads on his man. And finally, with 2:08 to go in overtime, the penalty call is made.
Well, with all intents and purposes, that's a 5-on-4 power play already going on the ice as you get the extra guy on with Carey Price heading to the box. And Trocheck's going to get a penalty for high sticking right as his stick comes up. There, catches Eller on the side of the helmet. It's a tough call to make, but you have to be responsible for your stick. And the Florida Panthers have taken penalties tonight, and they are a disciplined team, but they have taken 2 penalties already. One to Hayes, one to Bolin, that were irresponsible penalties, and they were scored on twice. Now they're going to the well for a 3rd time. Again, kind of a bad penalty to take, not having control of your stick, and this will be a 4-on-3 for the Montreal Canadiens, and an all-important point for Florida as Ottawa has lost in Toronto. So if you could actually get another point here, if you're Florida, you're 2 points behind Ottawa, and you play them tomorrow night. So this is a big kill for Florida.
Subban pulls it back to the line for Markov and gives it up to PK. PK into the corner. Scores! Max Pacioretty!
Hate to foreshadow something bad, but you just felt that was coming.
And with that win, it's official. The Montreal Canadiens clinch their playoff position.
Gerard Gallant is giving it to the officials as they're leaving the ice, but again, the call is what it is. He hit him in the side of the head with his stick. Yeah, you'd like to see him be able to let it go, but it's a penalty, and he's not happy about it as he's heading off at the end gate where the referees went out, and I'm sure they're going to get another earful as the Montreal Canadiens clinch their playoff spot. Max Pacioretty gets his 36th. The key to this is you got to get the puck right away. Montreal gets the puck. Subban comes down, helps to get it settled down, over to Desharnais, and right away across the crease to Pacioretty. It's a bang-bang play. Good job by the Canadiens to get possession of it. And Willie Mitchell gets a bit too high. He gets a bit too high, and there's 2 Montreal Canadiens sitting down the crease below him. And the Canadiens win in overtime, and another loss for the Florida Panthers. 15 overtime losses this year. And that's enough to have you outside the playoffs looking in as the Montreal Canadiens get 2 power play goals tonight, something they have not been able to do in a long, long time in one game. And they get the win over the Florida Panthers.
And another game-winning goal for Pacioretty, his 10th of the season. Here are your 3 stars on this Saturday night. Alex Galchenyuk, who got his 20th goal of the season tonight. He's the #1 star. Alexander Barkov was great for Florida. 2 goals for him and the overtime winner. Pacioretty, number 36 on the season, as the Canadiens win 3-2. In this, their final Saturday night on home ice. The next time they play in the Bell Center on Saturday, it'll be in the playoffs, which they are now officially in. Let's take it back to Hockey Central Control and George Stroumboulopoulos.